Did you know that Ryan Leaf, once touted as the next big thing in the NFL, ended up being considered one of the biggest busts in NFL history? Quite a shocker, isn't it? But what does it mean to be a bust in the NFL? Simply put, it refers to a player who fails to live up to the expectations set for them, especially those who had a high draft pick or a lucrative contract. It's a term that no player ever wants to be associated with. And yet, the history of the NFL is littered with such instances. Players like Ryan Leaf who had the world at their feet, only to stumble when it mattered the most. So are you ready for a wild ride through some of the most surprising letdowns of the NFL? Hold on to your seats as we dive into the top 5 biggest busts in NFL history. Kicking off our countdown at number 5, we have Jamarcus Russell. Now, there's a name that brings back memories, and not the good kind if you're an Oakland Raiders fan. Russell came into the league with a lot of promise. Drafted as the first overall pick by the Oakland Raiders in 2007, this 6'6" quarterback out of LSU was a physical specimen, with a cannon for an arm that could launch a football the length of the field. The Raiders and their fans had high hopes that Russell would be the franchise savior. However, Russell's career was marred by performance issues from the get-go. His rookie season was a disaster, with only 1 touchdown pass and 4 interceptions in 4 games. But it was in his second season that things really started to unravel. Despite throwing for 13 touchdowns, he also tossed in 8 interceptions and had a dismal completion rate of just 53%. Russell's struggles on the field were compounded by issues off it. He had a well-documented struggle with his weight, ballooning to over 300 pounds at one point. His work ethic was also called into question, with former teammates and coaches accusing him of not putting in the necessary effort to succeed at the highest level. Russell's downfall was swift and brutal. The Raiders released him in May of 2010, after just 3 seasons. He attempted a comeback a few years later, but it never materialized. To this day, Russell is considered one of the biggest draft busts in NFL history. Russell's career serves as a reminder that talent alone is not enough to succeed in the NFL. It takes hard work, dedication, and a certain level of personal discipline. Without these, even the most gifted athletes can find themselves out of the league in a hurry. Before we unveil our next NFL bust, take a moment to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to stay updated on our latest videos. With one click, you're part of our community, joining the conversation on the biggest busts and the greatest triumphs in NFL history. Click that thumbs up if you're enjoying the video. And remember, sharing is caring, so pass this video along to your fellow sports enthusiasts. You wouldn't want to miss out on our exciting upcoming content, would you? Coming in at number 4, we have the tragic tale of Charles Rogers. Now here's a name that resonates with a sense of what could have been. Charles Rogers was a player who seemed destined for greatness. An extraordinary talent out of Michigan State, Rogers was an All-American wide receiver, and his athletic prowess and playmaking ability were second to none. Rogers' early success was nothing short of spectacular. He was the 2nd overall pick in the 2003 NFL Draft, selected by the Detroit Lions. The beginning of his professional career was promising, with Rogers catching 2 touchdown passes in his first game. His raw talent was evident, and his future seemed bright. But then, fate dealt Rogers a cruel hand. Injuries plagued him from the start of his career. In his first 2 seasons, he broke his collarbone twice, limiting his play and stunting his development. Rogers' injury woes were just the beginning of his troubles. With his career on the back foot due to these injuries, Rogers began to struggle off the field as well. He found himself battling substance abuse, an issue that would have a catastrophic impact on his life and career. Despite numerous attempts to overcome his problems, his issues with substance abuse persisted, ultimately leading to his release from the Lions in 2006. Rogers' journey is marked by a series of unfortunate events and personal struggles. His career serves as a stark reminder of how quickly fortunes can change in the world of sports. Once touted as the next big thing in football, Rogers ended up playing only 15 games in the NFL, a tragic end to a career that was brimming with potential. His story is not just about the fall of a promising athlete, but a cautionary tale about the perils of substance abuse and the importance of mental health in sports. Rogers' story is a stark reminder of how quickly fortunes can change in the world of sports. At number 3, we have David Carr, a promising quarterback who couldn't live up to expectations. David Carr entered the National Football League with a bang in 2002, as the first overall pick by the Houston Texans. His college career at Fresno State had been nothing short of extraordinary, with Carr demonstrating a remarkable ability to read defenses and deliver accurate, powerful passes. The hype surrounding him was palpable, and many believed he was destined to be the next big thing in professional football. However, the promising career everyone anticipated never fully materialized. Despite having a strong arm and a keen footballing mind, Carr struggled to translate his college success into the professional arena. He was plagued by performance issues that seemed to stem from a lack of protection from his offensive line. The young quarterback was sacked a record 76 times in his rookie year alone, a statistic that painted a grim picture of Carr's future in the league. In his 5 seasons with the Texans, Carr was sacked a staggering 249 times. This constant pressure undoubtedly affected his ability to perform at the high level expected of him. He was never able to establish a rhythm or build the necessary confidence to lead his team to victory consistently. The factors contributing to Carr's disappointing career were not solely his to bear. The Texans' offensive line was notoriously weak during Carr's tenure, and many argue that he was set up for failure from the start. Furthermore, the lack of a solid supporting cast meant that Carr often had to shoulder the team's offensive responsibilities single-handedly, a task that would be daunting for any quarterback, let alone a young one. In the end, Carr's career serves as a reminder that potential alone is not enough to guarantee success in the NFL. It's a team sport, and the right support system is crucial for a player to thrive. Carr's career is a classic case of unfulfilled potential. Just missing the top spot at number 2, we have Tony Mandarich. Once dubbed the Incredible Bulk, Mandarich was hyped up to be one of the best offensive linemen in NFL history. However, his performance on the field was inconsistent to say the least. His struggles were deeply rooted in off-field issues, including a battle with drug addiction. Mandarich entered the NFL with a sterling reputation, but his career was marred by lapses in performance that were starkly at odds with the promise he'd shown in college. He struggled to maintain his early momentum, and his performance slipped dramatically. His dependence on painkillers and steroids only compounded his problems, leading to his eventual downfall. His career with the Green Bay Packers and the Indianapolis Colts was marked by missed opportunities and unfulfilled potential. Despite a brief resurgence later in his career, he never truly lived up to the hype. Mandarich's career is a cautionary tale for aspiring NFL players. And at number 1, we have Ryan Leaf, arguably the biggest bust in NFL history. Leaf, the second overall pick in the 1998 NFL Draft, was surrounded by a whirlwind of hype from the get-go. He was expected to take the league by storm, a shining beacon of raw talent, a player who was supposed to redefine the game. But as we all know, things didn't go as planned. The pressure was immense, and Leaf's performance on the field didn't live up to the expectations. He struggled to find his rhythm, his passes were often off-mark, and he couldn't seem to grasp the playbook. He was a far cry from the superstar everyone had anticipated. Leaf's struggles were not limited to the gridiron. Off the field, he was known for his confrontational behavior, his inability to handle criticism, and his overall lack of professionalism. These issues only exacerbated his underwhelming performance on the field. After only 4 seasons, Leaf's NFL career came to a screeching halt. A combination of poor performance, personal issues, and a lack of discipline led to his downfall. He went from being one of the most hyped players in the league to one of the most infamous busts in the history of the sport. Leaf's story serves as a stark reminder that success in the NFL is never guaranteed, no matter how promising a player might seem.